getting us in. And we're live. Okay, so cool. Thank you all for being here, and welcome everyone to the U.S. Pirate National Committee meeting, first Jitsi stream of the year, of the new year. So this is our second meeting of January and first in-person or a video meeting of January. I'll go ahead and get us started. So let's do IDs calling this meeting to order at 9:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bosun, ID, please.
I am Joe Klein, Assistant Chair.
Okay.
Or Vice Chair, however that goes.
Yeah. And Jamie?
James O'Keefe, Party Secretary.
Joe?
Joseph Onorowski, Treasurer.
Mitch?
Mitch DeVillo, Swarm Care Manager.
Meg?
Megan Klein, Wisconsin.
And AJ?
Anthony J., Indiana Pirate Party, not Iowa Pirate Party. That is a common misconception. But I am part of the Indiana Pirate Party, just so we're clear. And I also share the outreach committee.
Yeah, a mistake that I made earlier. And I am Rose Klein, and the chair of the PNC. Okay, so thank you all very much for being here. And glad we could do this. Okay, cool. So reports. Let's start off with the IT committee. Jamie.
We have our meeting coming up this Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Folks can get the link via the IT committee Discord channel or from the mailing list.
Cool. I'm excited to see people join in and help out. So thank you. Okay. And then platform committee, Joe?
So unfortunately, I have not held another platform committee since this year, but I will be starting it up next week. I did not get a chance to finish the report or even really work on it beyond what or where I should have had it done and where I intended to have it done. So I do apologize for that. That being said,
that is just fine.
No, I appreciate it, but my own high expectations for what I would want to have accomplished have not been met.
Well, thank you for working on it anyway, and you know, I mean, it's been the holidays, so we're getting back into it. Okay. Regular meetings resuming this tomorrow, I presume then?
Yes, tomorrow.
Okay. Cool. Fantastic. Look forward to seeing the discussions that come out of that. And then outreach.
Outreach has been a little bit quiet this week, though we did have some of us gathered with some of the Australian pirates to discuss their outreach methods. The other day, we took a lot of notes. It was great. We're hoping to incorporate some of what we learned there into U.S. pirates outreach. I don't really think there's been too much other than that. We're still working on a little, pirate freebies we could hand out at events. And that's pretty much all we've been doing recently.
Okay. Thank you. Other reports. Swarm Care? Mitch?
Nothing new from Swarm Care. Just that we had the meeting with the Australian pirates, but nothing statewide, no news, other than the new pirate in the Discord server from Maryland or Ohio/Maryland, who seems to be interested. So that's good news.
Cool. Okay. And Treasury?
Nothing new to report from there on the Treasury front. No requests for funds and no usage of funds.
Okay. And Secretary or Secretary? Yeah. Jamie?
I don't have anything additional to report.
Vice Chair? Oh, you are muted. No, still can't hear you. Feel free to type in chat if that works. If you can't.
Sorry,
Oh,
I was having problems with unmuting here. No, I don't have anything to report.
Okay, thank you. While I'm at it, since I forgot to mention it at the top of the video, a reminder to our lovely folks watching this, our members and other such supporters, do feel free to post any questions, comments, or other thoughts in the chat. We do read that and look at that. While I can't guarantee that we'll be able to get to everything that you mentioned as a part of this procedure, since it is a standard sort of Robert's Rules meeting, if those things are, especially if those things are relevant to the conversation, they will absolutely be factored in and brought up and read aloud. So we appreciate things that you bring up, and anything that we don't get to, we'll be able to answer afterwards. So. Thank you for your engagement. Cool. Okay, that's all that. Those are the reports. So, in moving on, anything that we missed in terms of reports, or we can go on to old business?
I do. If we're ready to move on to old business, I do want to say
Yeah.
something about one of the things
Go
we
for
have in old business. We have the Youth Pirates thing that Mitch and I have been kicking around a little bit in there. I would like to move to table that another week because we haven't really made that much progress on it. It still kind of looks the way it did last week, and we kind of, that wasn't even very formal conversation. So I would like to move that we table that until next week.
Yeah, unless there's any objections, if people really feel like we need to talk about that now, I don't see any reason that we need to.
We do discuss it, but I mean, how long are we going to put it off?
Yeah, I do really want to talk about it, but I'm saying that
I feel like we need to say something. This is my been sticking out here. Okay, there was a violation of rules. No rules have been followed through because everyone here is afraid of it looking like punishment, and it's not. And it's getting to a point where, I'm no longer on the Discord, and I almost have no wish to be a part of the United States Pirate Party because of this issue.
Would you like to see what Mitch and I have? Do we want to open up discussion?
Is it any different than what I have started when I had wrote how many months ago?
It's really not that. It's really not that. The draft Mitch and I have put forward really isn't that complete, and is still kind of a synthesis of all three of our.
I'm asking, is it all just what I wrote? Has there been any development past of what I started?
Oh no, there's definitely been development. It just hasn't. It's not in that much of a shape that I'm super proud of yet.
Jamie, you want to say something?
Why is the formation of a Youth Pirates chapter? Why is that in any way related to dealing with behavior on Discord when we have rules defined?
Because the issue that happened was there was an argument that occurred. I have no idea what the issue was with that one, but we had somebody, remember I had mentioned this last year, several months ago. I wanted to discuss this, and no, there are no protocols in place for this. None. There's no result of this. There's no feedback. There's no even addressing of it. There's no slap on the wrist. There's nothing.
So to clarify, this I don't think that this is. Yeah, no, and that is an issue, a major issue. I don't think it's the same issue as the youth pirates thing that AJ is trying to bring up. It's related. It's very much related.
Yes, it's very much related. They aren't the same issue, but they are one in the same spot. Because to create a pirates youth group, I have stayed off discussing this problem so that Mitch and anyone else can make this subgroup so we can avoid making it look like a punishment when it is not at all. So I've stayed off making an issue of the insulting, the attack that happened in my DMs to the point where I don't even feel safe in that group anymore.
Well,
so and no,
so here's the thing is then what I'm hearing you saying is that we do need the Discord rules for the pirate party need to be followed, in which case there needs to be a punishment for that action, and that needs to be taken care of, and that is separate from this Youth Pirates initiative. Because the Youth Pirates initiative
100% separate.
Right.
However, the reason that the two happened so close in time, I have stopped following through on it, and I was ignored in the admin's responses. I was ignored in the group responses. I was ignored reaching out. I'm making an argument here because I have been ignored when I requested something of it, and I was told, hey, can we not do this? Because if you make a stink of this, if you make a problem here, then any youth group will make it look like we're doing this as a punishment and we'll lose the new workers that we have. Yes, I understand. It looks bad, but it's just, excuse me, hello, okay? We need to have a little bit of, there are rules that we have made, there's behavior we had made, and I understand, but I want to be straight. Is someone going to do something about this, or is the intended purpose, we're going to let this go for the sake of, we don't want to make it a problem?
Someone's going to do something about this, and the Youth Pirates thing is going to be made. They are separate things. Does that answer your question?
Is there a timeline as to when either one of these things will be moved forward?
If I may.
I don't know. AJ and Bosun, you both had your hands up. I don't wanna ignore that.
Who's
AJ,
first?
you were first.
Okay.
AJ.
If we feel strongly that this needs to be done, and I do know that this is something that Wisconsin has been adamant about for a very long time, and I do apologize that it has taken a while. Mitch and I, and we can sit down with you as well, Meg, and we can try and figure everything out this week. At least get something, because I do know that it has been put off for a bit.
Yeah, great. Let's do that. Bosun.
Is there a possibility of just having an ad hoc meeting sometime this week where the three can attend?
I think that's what AJ essentially just proposed, and that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. And can we
Would-
just like set a time for that right now?
Yeah, if we want not a physical meeting, but a specific time to meet. I mean,
Oh no! I thought we'd
Yeah.
drive down to Indiana.
yeah. Indiana, not Iowa. Need to make sure that you put that one in
No,
your
not Iowa. I
GPS
don't
the right
want
way.
to go to Iowa.
How
I don't even
about
want to go to Indiana.
let's see. Wow. Before maybe
Yeah, we just
hour before
escaped
outreach.
there.
Yeah. No, yeah, I understand. Once you get out of Indiana, you don't really want to go back. How about like an hour before outreach, like 7 Central, 8 Eastern? Everyone interested can meet and we can talk about this a little bit more. On Tuesday. Sorry.
Megan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is Mitch available?
Tuesday after 5 o'clock, I'll be available for any.
Okay.
meeting.
Yep. That should line up just fine. All right. So to reiterate, is an hour before outreach on Tuesday, so 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern, however else that translates to Mountain and Pacific. Is that fun with everybody?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Done.
Good. Then let's just hash it out. I will be more than happy to listen in on the meeting, although I suspect I have to kind of babysit at the same time. Nobody, not in reference to anybody here.
Okay. With that said, there was the question of whether we can put off having the discussion of the Youth Pirates Wing formation itself for another
Well,
bit. You said a week, AJ,
Uh,
which is separate, to be clear,
yes,
from this disciplinary issue.
it's all tangentially, related still. It's all the meeting.
I
the
mean,
meeting's gonna
sure,
be-
but I mean,
Yeah.
I see them as related only
Yeah.
by the
Okay.
individuals connected to it, but
Okay.
not by the
yeah.
by the.
Yes, though the meeting
Yeah.
that I just set up should be, I believe, would be about, how to form the youth wing to give youth pirates their own space. So I think that's us agreeing to that meeting would also mean, yeah, we're putting this off for another week. So
Bosun, you wanted to say something?
oh yeah, I just think you can't deal. Yes, they need to have the meeting, have the discussion, figure out how to attack it, and then report back at the next meeting. Right?
yes, that's
Okay.
that's what I'm thinking in my head. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is
let's
this
just
meeting
get it fixed.
my question is this meeting about disciplinary action, or is this meeting about the youth pirates, or is it both?
It's both.
Both. I will say, I think the primary topic of discussion might be rules regarding youth pirates. So I don't know if that's either. That's just, should, like the proposal I showed sort of kind of off the record, kind of on to you and Mitch and everyone at the last meeting revolved around how youth pirates should be treated in terms of being confirmed to the PNC and all of that. And I would assume that would probably be the primary topic of discussion. So both, neither, it would have to do with this idea of youth pirates as like a, pirates under 18 having this separate membership.
Joe?
Am I the asshole here for not really having a clue as to what's going on?
I don't think that makes you an asshole.
Just confused. Yep.
No, that's a perfectly valid question. I don't know if I.
Come to the meeting.
Yeah.
The only challenge with that is Massachusetts has moved its meeting to Tuesdays. So there's a little bit of a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
I can explain it in DMs. I don't know if I want to take the time to
You know
explain it
what?
right now.
Honestly, for Meg's own privacy and and right to decency, if it doesn't involve me or doesn't involve the treasury or the platform, that's not my business.
Yeah,
I just hope Meg feels safe.
really. It doesn't really. To clarify, so
Oh, what's going on with my car? My apologies.
Well, that's it. You're being robbed.
Not anymore.
okay, Meg, Meg, would you do you, I wanted to ask that same question. So AJ answered that question, but I want to ask that same question to you. Is this a meeting about disciplinary action? Is this a meeting about the Youth Pirates wing formation, or both?
I thought it was just about disciplinary.
Okay.
I really have no interest in creating the youth pirates. That is not my thing. My only issue is protocol of attacking somebody and starting fights for no
Okay.
reason.
Yep, understood. Then for that sake and that sake only, because that is the reason, because Meg's concern is the reason that we are having this meeting, then can that be the primary focus of that meeting, please?
Yes.
Okay.
And as a side note, throughout the week, then me and AJ will work on the final presentable.
Sure.
draft.
Then that
Yeah.
can be brought up later,
Mhm.
as at your own pace and development. Great, fantastic, wonderful. I'm excited to see that. But the disciplinary action should be the primary focus of that meeting on Tuesday.
Mhm.
Understood?
Yes.
Cool. Great. Fantastic. Questions before we move on? Discussion before we move on? Okay, next thing. Cool. Old business. In our old business, we had two things that were brought up last time. The first was a proposal proposed that each subcommittee be required by the PNC to post their meeting minutes for each meeting in an accessible and public manner online. So this was proposed. We did have a second for it, but I open the floor now to discussion before we have any sort of voting or other such things. Discussion and debate on this motion.
I think I was the one that said we shouldn't vote on this yet, just because I wanted the other two committee chairs to be present for it. Because while I don't think either of them would have issues with it, I just thought that they should have their say.
Is there any other discussion and debate on this proposal?
Question: what is being asked? I try and make sure that everything from my committee is always online and accessible for everybody at all times. And I would think that would just make sense. Are you asking for us to take copy and paste to the wiki, or what if we make a YouTube video or stream it?
That's
And
a good question.
what would the logistics of that be?
That's a good question, Joe. I think that's partially what's up for debate here. I don't know. Jimmy, was that a?
Yeah, I mean, I'm wary about relying on other sources, other repositories of decisions to put them in YouTube or Discord or whatever. So I support this. And I know I need to be better about this. But I would just suggest that, who attended, what was decided, any other things you want to do should be up on the wiki. And I think that's probably enough for now. That would be my recommendation.
Would you recommend that we write that into the motion itself, or that just be the interpretation of it?
I'm always in favor of making things explicit.
That makes sense. Yeah, kind of same. Okay. Then we can absolutely change that. Is there other debate or discussion on the motion, with or without that amendment?
I think we can make that into just a reasonable just a reasonable proposal, right? It basically, at a minimum, what you want out of minutes is you want who attended, what was decided, and some kind of cliff notes on the discussion. Right? Am I saying something weird?
No, I think that makes sense.
So, should we reformat? I'm trying to think about how to reword this. Should we say all subcommittees must keep a record on our wiki for each meeting detailing who attended and the major decisions of the meeting?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like minimum note
Yeah.
taking.
Further discussion or debate on that motion?
No, I
Last-
fully understand what's being asked, and it is the bare minimum. It's just my only final point on it is, oi, because I'm so bad at it. But I will do
I
it.
am too.
Well, you can always
Jamie,
delegate it to somebody else.
You put it up as
No,
a
I'm-
standard, and if you fail at it, well, then you try to fix it at the next meeting.
Yeah.
I mean,
no,
usually the standard procedures at a meetings I've attended is you may make in a committee, you might make one of your first items to read over the minutes of the last meeting so that people can say, well, this was inaccurate or this needs to be changed.
Yeah, I've seen
Jamie?
that on other subcommittees of other organizations, and that is a good way of making sure it always gets done, is to do it right at the beginning of the next meeting.
Right.
And honestly, if I had been doing it from the very start, then I wouldn't have this monster workload to compile all the things that I'm doing right now. Yay!
You're just doing what is normal human behavior. I will not fault
Jamie,
you.
you have something to say?
Yeah, Secretary, I wanted to clarify, Woden's Day, what was the last point that you made?
Oh, well, I believe it was who attended and a summary of the decisions.
Okay, so I have, it should include who attended, what was decided. Is that all?
I think that's all I said.
Okay.
I think I was the one who added in some kind of cliff notes on what was
Oh, yeah.
discussed.
Like what was decided is the cliff notes, right?
Yeah.
So I have proposed, that each subcommittee be required by the PNC to post their meeting minutes for each meeting in the wiki, period. It should include who attended and what was decided.
Yeah. That's good.
Further discussion or debate on that motion as read by the secretary?
No.
I asked the chair to move it to a vote.
Okay, hearing
second.
that. Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say nay. Okay, and the vote is passed. Cool. We had another motion in old business, which there was a really great demonstration that I should have copied over. But it was proposed that from here onwards, the PNC votes via messaging the chair on an external form of communication. After all votes are received, the chair will type or read out the votes and which members cast said votes for the record. To clarify, there was a really effective demonstration that Radio Joe, aka William, did as part of the discussion last time. I'm not sure whether this needs to be the chair specifically, or if this could be the secretary, as long as it's a non-voting member. Yeah. Discussion or debate?
If I may, clarify the point of this because I was a little confused at first. Radio Joe brought this forward, so basically we would be voting anonymously until the chair reads out our votes, and his idea is that this could prevent strong arming while the vote was being cast, and influence between members. And he thought it might be valuable because it's something our government does this to sort of prevent emotions getting in the way of the vote as it's happening. That was sort of his thought process.
Or in Wisconsin, what they do is you just have your the guy sitting next to you do your vote for you.
Other discussion or debate?
I think it is not necessarily as needed because I look at each one of you and I know that none of you is going to really be influenced by whatever's coming out of my mouth. I know that you are all strong and independent thinkers, and I would hope to feel that you will continue to be so. I mean, to be a pirate is to make a stand. So,
Jamie?
Yeah, I guess my thought. So someone's voting, and then someone else is talking that could influence them, but we're past discussion, right? So why not just say, "Shut up" while we do the votes, and just leave it at that? Sorry if that's too direct.
if I may retort.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Joe.
So I would think that it just seems like it's extra steps. I understand the anonymity, but if we're just saying the vote of who voted what anyways at the end, it just seems like extra steps to me. But I'm not necessarily opposed to it, if that's the way you guys want to do it.
Bosun, you want to say something?
Yeah, if we are having some weird controversial vote and somebody wants to ask the chair that it be an anonymous vote, I think that's up to the chair.
Should we maybe
AJ?
reformat this to say that a voting member may ask the chair to conduct a vote in this way?
Other discussion or debate?
I would have no problem with somebody requesting of the chair for an anonymous vote and have that request be anonymous. So thus making it so that way, if you want to do that anonymous vote, no one knows who requested the anonymous vote. Thus keeping the anonymity of it intact.
Jamie?
We're pirates. Why do we want anything to be anonymous?
That's why we read them out afterwards. It's not about it's. I really wish Radio Joe was here to explain it because that's what I said too at first. The point is not for if we're just talking about the vote. The point isn't for the vote to be anonymous. It's because you're reading it out at the end. The point is to prevent any possible strong arming to happen while the vote is being cast.
Okay, but
Okay, let me. Sorry, I yield the floor.
Yeah, no, Meg, go ahead. Meg?
I was just wondering that, so that you're meaning that you're not saying who has the ability to vote. And it's a silly way, it's similar to saying, what, super delegates? We don't know who is who, and you kind of just say, all right, that way there's no one that's going to go by and start lobbying or whatnot on a particularly questionable vote. I just wonder under what circumstances will we have that kind of vote?
Jamie?
We have these meetings online. It is entirely possible that were I a delegate, Bosun could send me a signal message saying "vote my way" and you get this special thing, right? Not that I think Bosun would do that, but in other words, like off-channel communication can still go on. This isn't preventing that.
Other discussion or debate? Bosun?
I think this is a scaling issue. If we had like 50, if we had like 30 states or a lot of states, then it would become a more significant factor. Right now, I think it doesn't make any sense to implement that. But we should talk about having a mechanism where if there's a controversial vote, that we can call for it to be an anonymous vote. And I agree with that one.
Other discussion or debate? Jamie?
So I just want to be clear because we've kind of gone back. Or when we say anonymous vote, do we mean we don't know how someone voted, how a representative voted, or are we saying that we don't know until the end?
To be clear, because the voting system proposed would make it so that the representatives would still have their votes announced. Each individual representative would still have their votes announced at the end, as it is written, right? So people would still know how you voted at the end. It's just not until the end.
It would just be
Joe,
anonymous during tabulation.
Correct. Joe, you wanted to say something?
I mean, in terms of lobbying, or it being an anti-lobbying mechanism, the lobbyists will still be able to figure out how you're going to vote on something if they just take the time to study you.
Mitch?
Now, forgive me if I'm misunderstanding the technology, but perhaps that instead of the discussion of being able to vote anonymously, would this not be a good time to perhaps bring in the idea of liquid feedback or liquid democracy, to where if we voted on it, then had the discussion, and then by the end of it had the final vote, whether you decided for or against it. Would this be a more effective way to vote where you would only see your vote, only the chair or whoever is seeing the votes would have it, be able to count up the votes at the end of it? Where it would be anonymous from you'd only see your vote, but then you'd be able to count up the votes at the end of it and see how every state voted.
Yeah, to kind of go where Jamie was talking about, I kind of see it as a silly thing. I don't really care what other people think so much as I have a certain stance on things. I'm going to vote a certain way. I can be convinced, but the whole point of pirates is not hiding, not standing up for what you believe in, and hiding behind a vote or an anonymous vote. And kind of, if I'm on the fence, I'm on the offensive against. Only for the fact that we want to know what we're deciding and why we're deciding it. We're going for that transparency piece. And it seems somewhat against that transparency piece.
To your point,
Other
Joe.
discussion? Yeah. Mitch?
I'm sorry. I was going to say, to your point, Joe, I agree, but we also respect the privacy and the sanctity of a person's vote. And I do believe that a vote rightfully should be private. I think the end result will ultimately be public. There will be no transparency. I just think that this is a case of you don't want your vote swayed by a mob mentality or public democracy. This is a way to get your vote in privately. And then once it's all said and done, the results be clear how you voted. But this is a way to do it so it's only your vote. Only you know what your vote is. Only you have to worry about it.
Jamie?
Okay, I'm going to do this again.
Bosun?
Again, I think it's a scaling issue. If we were a large delegation and we had a large number of people, you may want to do this as a means to prevent like too much side chatter and all the other stuff. I think it's just irrelevant right now, given our size.
AJ?
I just wanted to say I'm not like a massive, fan of this idea. I kind of like it and Radio Joe has brought me around to it. But in the last meeting, I pushed back on it quite a lot. So if this is something we want to dismiss until we're actually large enough for it to be relevant, I would be fully okay with that.
Other discussion or debate? Yeah, Wilson?
I move that we table this until we have
Jimmy's
20
making 10.
members? Some
20?
number?
20? Okay,
members?
20 members.
Yeah.
Okay. Motion on the floor. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, it has been properly moved and seconded that we table this until we have 20 members. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All
Aye.
opposed, please say nay. Okay, the motion is tabled. Secretary, please record that.
Now we gotta
Thank you
get
very much.
now we gotta get 20 states.
Now we gotta
Let's
get 20
get on it.
Now we gotta get 20 states. Let's work
That
at
was
it.
4-4. That was 4 to table and 0 against, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, speaking of getting members, there are so the youth pirate thing, we shunt that off onto the next meeting, but there were two things. I see Radio Joe in the chat.
I am so sorry.
William,
I will have to leave for the moment.
No worries, AJ. We still have a quorum, but thank you so much for being a part of the meeting. William, if you're going to be part of the meeting, you need to use the Jitsi link. I'll double send it to you, I guess. I can't have you. Yeah. Even if you're just on chat.
20 members, please visit us at crew.uspirates.org. And come,
Thank you so much.
Come sign us.
Yeah.
20 state members, by the way, we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're not just saying 20 individual people and we're good as gold. Let's just for clarity purposes.
Yeah.
People watching.
Okay. Hey, so I did want to bring up two things in the new business stuff, and those are both candidate support and the state moderator email that we had received. I will say, are there any items of discussion or debate about which one we should talk about first? Other things for new business? Thoughts?
I have another thing for new business.
Joe, yeah.
To be added, obviously, after this, but National Pirate Conference.
Oh, the National Pirate Conference.
Let's see.
That is incredibly important and agreed. Yeah, we should absolutely add that in. So thank you. Okay. If you, specific things about that. I mean, we could talk about that now. Yeah.
I was gonna not put it as a priority. What I was suggesting is that we just put it onto the table for new business in order to discuss. I think that due to the current state of COVID, we should still keep it a virtual meeting, but we could be planning that. Even maybe doing 2 6 months apart, so that we get 2 different times a year, like a wintertime and a summertime type one. And, and how those are structured are however this council sees fit.
further discussion on that? Okay. Hearing none, we can move on or bring that up again next time. Unless other people have further discussion on that.
If no one has any preference, I would like to talk about the state moderator.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing. Did everyone see that email? If there's anyone who didn't, I can absolutely read out part of that. The relevant part, at least. So to brief folks. So we have someone who is emailing us to ask about the position of state moderator, which we don't have an officer of currently, and asking if they might be able to apply for it. And what sort of process that would be. I suggested to folks, my suggestion was that we have said individual come to one of our meetings and talk about why the position is, why they think the position is necessary, and whether they would be why they think they would be a good fit for it, and then have a vote about that. That is my
May I
position on that.
propose?
Yeah, please.
Or that whoever would want to become a appointed member versus somebody who is voted in to be able to at least attend and spectate the meetings of at least 2 or more of the meetings as a spectator before being able to even be discussed or voted in on. That way we know that they're committed, that they're going to be here, that they're attending regularly, and that they are actually committed, and it's not something that we'd just be wasting all of our time.
Okay, that's a proposal. Do I have any seconds on that?
Second.
Okay, proposed, and so it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate on that motion?
I have a question only with it. Are you asking, like, we have a meeting with said person? Are you, like, asking for in person or online, like video? Like, is that what you're meaning, or did I
so to
misunderstand
clarify,
something?
So to clarify, the motion currently on the table is Joe's motion that any appointed members to the officer positions be Joe, clarify, please correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that any appointed members to the officer positions must attend 2 meetings of the PNC first before they are considered. Is that correct?
Yes, as in order to learn our processes, our way of doing things, and being able to at least know how we operate without being able to just jump in, or we consider them a troll, a spectator, you know.
Cool. Jamie, you wanted to say something?
No, I just wanted to get the text of the motion. That's all.
Okay, that makes sense. Yep. Okay. And then William. I'm glad you're here, and I am seeing your text. You apparently have your hand up, so I'm.
Well, I'm seeing double for William.
Yeah, I know. Just making sure. Okay. I do hear you, and I do see you. Okay. And you're gone again. Feel free to put text into the text chat. Other discussion or debate on Joe's motion?
Now, would this, with said motion, would that pertain to the by third meeting we would be interviewing them as a candidate, or is this just a no one can be a candidate until they've attended 3 straight?
So this is only anyone can be a candidate. I'm saying if somebody wanted to come in and run for treasurer and everybody votes and that person wins, that they're on the council. This is only for people that we appoint, saying, yes, we have a hole, you have an interest, go in and jump in. And this again is just even though this person who is a candidate does come from our camp, and I know it's somebody that comes willing to serve. It's somebody who I haven't really personally seen on the national level quite yet. And so I just wanted to make sure that they come in. Again, a lot of the people that I see on the council now who have joined in since I've been here have attended the meetings and have been very patient in the whole process of becoming and doing more. So, in honoring all the people who put in the effort, I would like to see them also attend.
To additionally clarify, the way that this person would be included into the position, the only way that really works is through the current part of the bylaws, which states that the PNC can appoint any additional officers as they see fit. Because otherwise it would have to be part of the regular officer elections.
Yeah, they would just have to literally be a fly on the wall. I'm not looking for them to be interacted with necessarily, or logged in, paying attention, part of the meeting, spectated. I'm not looking for anything crazy or any requirements out of them other than their interview meeting.
Further discussion or debate on this? Jamie?
So is this proposed as just a rule or a bylaw change?
This is a proposal for debate. It doesn't even necessarily have to be the full 2. It could be 3, it could be 20, it could be a single one. I think what I was proposing was 2 meetings, and this would be a bylaw change.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it is then a bylaw change. Yeah. Okay, so then it needs to be formatted as such. So we need to talk about that. Jamie, yeah.
Just as a reminder, Article 4, Section 3, Sub 2 says, for an officer position which is vacated out of schedule, as soon after the election as possible. Oh, sorry, let me repeat that. Election of officers shall occur, blah, at the normal time, or for an officer position which is vacated out of schedule as soon after the election as possible. And then the definition for how we hold that election. But I mean, they aren't appointed; they would be elected.
Okay.
I mean, in other words, the moment we had the elections that elected us, we had vacancies. So all we're doing is filling a vacancy.
Okay. I was mistaken then. Okay.
All right, then I will formally withdraw the motion. It was just a thought. It doesn't mean it was a good thought.
Yeah, we're filling a vacancy. And I should look at the bylaws. Which article is it, Jamie?
It is Article 4, Section 3.
Gotcha.
I sub-item 2, or
Thank
bullet point 2. I mean,
yeah, Jamie.
I mean, we have eligibility requirements, so I just think we would need to update this. to maybe maybe it should be that it shouldn't just be for filling vacancies. It should be any officer position. You literally shouldn't show up and be like, come in, we've never seen you before, and you're like, I want to run. It's like, well, we got to see you twice and get to know who you are. So
Yeah, I agree. I think that makes a lot of sense. That Joe's proposal was
Based in a
actually, yeah, based in some reasonable ideas, and should maybe be more broadly applied, if anything. If it were, then so for that to be the case, then you're saying we have section 2 eligibility, and Jamie, my understanding is that then we would put this proposal under that section. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, I would think we'd update that section.
Okay. And just add a third point saying that they must attend 2 meetings prior to being elected to the position.
Yeah, or we could put it as part of bullet point 1. I mean,
Yeah,
do we
that's true.
want to just defer this a week, and maybe Joe and I could just
Write up a version of
write
this.
up like an edit to that section 2, and
yeah, I mean it would be a simple notation edit.
Yeah. Are there any objections to that? Mitch's sounds. But okay, hearing no objections to that, then yeah, please do so. Thank you. And okay, we are nearing the end of our normal time. Are there any further things that the members would like to bring up for discussion or debate?
There were some comments by William, and I quote, real quick, would there be some sort of formality required interaction to the public during these meetings?
That's a good question. I don't know. That's a good question. Jamie, Joe, other members, do any of you have thoughts on that? Would there be some sort of
once more?
I'm going to call it senior moment. I'm not
would
sure
there be some sort of formally
what the
required public
context of what you were discussing.
would there be some sort of formally required public interaction during these meetings, during the required meetings for a person to attend before they are allowed to be elected for eligibility? Would they have to interact in any way, or are they allowed to just be a file?
Right? I mean, it's kind of a get to know you type of thing. I don't know if it needs to be formal, but if they're just show up and they're quiet, then that doesn't give us as much information as if they're helpful.
Bosun, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I think if I kind of believe that it should be the discretion of the chair, who, anybody who wants to look at the meeting and sit in on it. I mean, that's basically the way it's set up. But if you want them to have like a little window on the meeting, then essentially they're a guest, and the chair would have to recognize them as a guest.
I have
Other
a
discussion
proposal. Here's a thought bouncing off that idea. So if we switch, say, to like an all video, like what we're doing right now, and we allow visitors to have their own comment section, so that way it doesn't interrupt the core part of the meeting, but be able to have a messaging board where we would expect some interaction on that. Maybe even setting up our own version of Jitsi or our own platform for it. I believe Meg had something to say.
Oh, yes, Meg.
Yes, thank you. May I be excused? It is
Oh,
past
yes,
time
absolutely.
and I am exhausted.
Yes, please.
Thank you
Yes.
all. Have a great evening.
You too. Further discussion or debate?
You know, maybe me and Jamie can write something up and get that presented in a meaningful way, and we can go from there.
Yeah, I think just keep in mind the question of public interaction as a part of that. So,
Sounds good.
okay. With that, I'm perfectly happy to hear a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Okay, motion on the table
Second.
and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Okay. This meeting of the Pirate National Committee is adjourned at 10:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for watching. We're very happy that you were able to join us. Folks out there, please remember to interact with this video in all the ways that help us boost our engagement, but more importantly, check us out at uspirates.org. Again, that's uspirates.org, and join us at crew.uspirates.org, or you can check out that link at uspirates.org to join us. It's pretty much right there on the webpage. Pretty easy to find. There are plenty of links on there, including our Discord page, and I'll make sure to post those down in the description as well. Hope to see you in our various social channels, and can't wait to have you help us out. Spread the pirate message, vote pirate, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much. Thanks, folks. Okay, the stream is out.
Okay, I updated the notes.
Good.